From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Some of Colorado's state laws share an unusual origin story. One law set aside money to help foster kids attend college. Another provides free menstrual products in schools. And a third law funded an awareness program to prevent eating disorders. All of these laws were designed and proposed by high school students who actually drafted the language of each bill before legislators ultimately approved them. Since it was founded in 2008, the Colorado Youth Advisory Council, or KOYAC, has allowed students in the program to meet with lawmakers to discuss issues that affect young people. Now, state lawmakers in recent months considered defunding KOYAC amid a statewide budget crunch of about $1.2 billion. They ultimately opted to set aside $50,000 so the group can continue to work with lawmakers. Kids writing bills that actually became law sounded pretty intriguing. So I talked with Brenda Morrison, who oversees the KOYAC program. She said the program was the brainchild of a state legislator from Durango named Ellen Roberts.
Senator Roberts from Durango noted that the legislators spend a lot of time discussing bills, discussing issues that impact young people. But young people had very little say in these matters. And she thought it was critical and important that young people have a voice at the legislature.
So this nonpartisan program brings together 40 high school students representing each Senate district and then 2 representing the Ute, Mountain Ute, and Southern Ute tribes. They serve 2-year terms. What do the students do?
They meet and they come from all over the state. They have all different backgrounds, all different interests. But they meet and they discuss initially the issues that are important to them. What are they seeing in their schools, in their communities? They are 14 through 18 years old primarily. So there are issues that 14 through 18-year-olds are experiencing and their worlds. They come together and decide on, sometimes it could be 6, 7 different issues that they feel are important to discuss and research.
So they have to come to a consensus about what they're going to focus on.
Yes, they break into small groups on areas of interest. So they have to do a lot of research. And that takes several months of research. And then we ask them to do outreach to different constituent organizations that might be interested in this.
Brenda, how unusual is KOYAC? I mean, do other states offer programs like this?
KOYAC is very unusual. We get calls from all over the country asking how this has worked. There are a lot of, I would say, advisory councils on the municipal levels and sometimes in school boards. But this has been unusual for the students to have this kind of intense interaction with lawmakers.
I mean, I have to say, this seems like a great way for an ambitious kid to, pad out his or her resume. How do you make sure the applicant pool isn't just a lot of kids from wealthy areas who want to get a leg up to D.C.?
That is an excellent observation, and I will say that we can spot those students pretty easily.
Gotcha.
To be honest, KOYAC is a lot of work. If the student's doing 20 different extracurricular activities, they won't really be able to do KOYAC because it involves a weekly meeting, and this involves research in addition to your schoolwork. And we've worked really hard to make sure that the students are different and that it's not just that student that we all know is padding a resume because they've got their life planned out. So these students, a lot of them are exceptional students. I will not deny that, but they are exceptional from all walks of life and all different parts of the state.
I mentioned in our intro a couple of the state laws that started as proposals written by the council. Tell me a little bit about the one that offers free menstrual products in schools. How did that idea come up, and what were the discussions like with lawmakers?
I think that idea had been bounced around in different states, even in the legislature prior to that. But I think the young women didn't feel it was fair to either have to pay when you went to the restroom or have to go to the infirmary and ask.
Sure.
They just thought it should be just a part of what's available when you're at school. Some students are at school 9 to 10 hours a day. This is their place of work, essentially, and feel that, this is a biological function that is part of life.
Another law we mentioned sets aside money to help foster youth attend college. How did the COYAC students raise that issue?
That's an interesting one because many of these laws come from these students' personal experiences or people they know. This one, it was an exceptional young woman from Fort Collins who had heard about this, had had some contemporaries in foster care that she had known, who she didn't think were going to have the same opportunities that she might have, and felt this was something that needed to be addressed.
A law to create eating disorder awareness and prevention programs also grew out of COYAC. How challenging is it for students to convince lawmakers to set aside money for some of these laws?
I think that was challenging, and I'm not sure that was funded this year due to the budget. But this young woman, she has a compelling personal story with this. And when you hear this personal story, there's many other people in addition to her, of course, but she had experienced this herself and really felt that this was a need. And again, these students all know somebody or a family member or a friend who's going through some form of disordered eating.
I love that so much of this has grown out of these personal experiences or experiences with people they're close with. And I'm curious, how surprising was it for you to see some of these bills become law?
Yeah, it's very gratifying, certainly. But as gratifying as it is, I know what some of these alumni of COYAC have been doing now in their professional lives. Some of them, are 30 years old, right? And so I know, weird. But some of them are in public service. They are in business. When COYAC was kind of on the guillotine, a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
I heard from so many, a couple of them Zoomed in from all over the world, from Spain, from England, where they're working or going to school, from other parts of the United States, to say, please don't cut this. This was a formative part of my development, of my high school experience, and help shaping who I am now. So while the bills are nice, it's the process that we take them through and the knowledge they accumulate that is more gratifying.
Brenda Morrison oversees the Colorado Youth Advisory Council, which has drafted 7 bills that have been passed into law by state legislators. Lawmakers recently said they'll continue to fund a scaled-back version of the program, in which the students will suggest policy ideas to legislators rather than writing bills. We'll have more on COYAC in our show notes and at KUNC.org. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.